Okay, if you have your orange strippers in, change them to your black ones. Okay, I'm going to reset the lock row counter. The stitch size is going to be 5.5. Okay, 5.5, 5.5. And we're going to go to CX, front and back, CX. Okay, and I'm also going to put one of these claws on. Oh, pardon me. I'm going to put one of these claws on. It's not to weigh it down, it's just that the center can get a little puffy and you want to kind of flatten that out. Okay, row counter is at 0. And now we are going to do 18 rows of circular stockinette stitch. Okay, now we are going to do increases for the thumb gusset. So what we're going to do is move the rightmost stitch over, and then the next time we do it, the rightmost 2 stitches, next time rightmost 3 stitches, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so the row counter is going to be back to 0. So right now I'm going to take the rightmost 1 stitch and move it out on both the front and the back. Now, if you don't want to do the increases when the lock is on the right, you can do it when on the left. I'm okay with it. I don't really care. But what we're gonna do for the increase is take up this purl bump like that, move it over, and slide it onto the empty needle. And I'm not going to bother putting the edge springs back on because we're going to do this multiple times. Okay, so what we're going to do now is 4 rows. Okay, and now we're going to take the rightmost 2 stitches. And then pick up the purl bump on the front and back and put it on the empty stitch. Okay, 4 more rows and repeat. Okay, the rightmost 3 stitches. So if you forget where you are, how many stitches you're supposed to do, one thing you can make a note of is what stitch number the empty one always is. And for me, the empty one is always stitch 26 on the front. And alternately, you can also determine how many increases you have done by looking at your row counter and dividing by 4. So my row counter is 8, which means I have done 2. So I was on my 3rd, so I had to move 3. It's very easy to forget where you are in something like this. if you don't have any sort of reference. Okay, so now I'm going to move the rightmost 4 stitches. And I like to hold this down kind of between those stitches to make sure, well, I'm trying to explain it. I'm trying to show you well. I just hold it down, try to get those solidly down, just in case one of those is going to pop up off the needle. I like to kind of hold it down a little bit. Okay, and I've only been machine knitting for less than 2 years. So take my advice with that in mind. So let's keep going. Okay, this is number 5. You'll see me smooth out the needles. That's just a habit. I just think it feels nice. Kind of like going to a piano and always having to slide your finger up and down it. Zoom. It just feels nice. And it sounds nice. At this point, you're probably wondering how many times are we going to do this? Well, the answer is we'll do 8 full ones. So our row counter is going to be 32, and then we will do 1 more after that and not do the 4 rows. So I'll walk you through it. Come on, pop, pop, pop. Pop. Okay, this time I'm going to move 7 over, which means I'm going to move 2 and then 5. You could do 5 and then 2 or 3 and 4, but I find it easiest to do 2 and 5 so that the second transfer, when you have your decker tool in the middle, you're not dealing with work on either side that's in your way. So 2 and then 5. Pop. Okay, 1 more rows. And you can also take pressure off during your move by wrapping the yarn around the NX lever, if you like. Okay, we are on row counter 32. We have done 8 increases. Now we are going to do a 9th increase. So I'm going to move 4 and then move 5. Oops. That one, I lost apply. There we go. And notice I'm also, you can see that these latches are closed, or probably can see it. When I'm doing this, I'm using my latch tool to open them up on the way down. I mean, my latch tool. I'm using my decker tool to open them up on the way down. Okay, we moved 9, and we are putting the last increase in. Okay, I'm going to reset my row counter to 0. And then for this part is where we are either going to need the electronics or to manually adjust the pushers, because we do not have HX on the front. We need to use L instead of HX in order to only knit the needles for the thumb. So we have 10 stitches on the front and back, which are for the thumb. And I'm going to put the pushers and work on the front and the back for those. You'll notice I have all my pushers out of the rail, just because what I was doing previous to this, and what I plan on doing after. We're not using arrows, so it doesn't matter that they're all out. It's not going to change. It's not going to affect my thing. And we're not doing tuck stitches or something. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it doesn't really matter. So this one is the last one. Yeah, it has a pusher. So we are going to use electronics because we have 44 rows on the thumb, and I do not feel like putting these back in work 22 times. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn on our console if it's off. We're going to program. Cast on is anything. You can use number 1. Stitch pattern is 1. Oops. No, it's not all. It's not all. Stitch pattern A is 107. No test. It's all. No form. Left needle is 26. Let's pause it. Don't put a negative there. If you're on this side. And the right needle is 35. 26 to 35. You may subtract those and go and say that's 9. It's actually 10. It's highest minus lowest plus 1 to get the range. That is a common SAT question, or was a common SAT question, because I tutored the SAT. And a lot of people got that wrong. So just be careful when you're doing that. If you're going to say, oh, I need 10 stitches, and you think 25 to 25, that is incorrect. It is 26 to 35 to get 10 stitches. So we've programmed the computer. We are going to start. Right now it's blinking start, cast on, start, cast on. Press enter. I'm going to go to the start position. Hit enter. Now it says cast on. At this point, I hit the ABC button, and now it says stitch pattern A. Enter. And so SX on the front, GX on the back, and no yarn. one row. Adjust my light here. Okay, and handles up. Check the needles. They look good. An empty row. Check needles. Put the color in. Stitch size is going to be 5.5, front and back. Black strippers. LX on the front. Now it says CX on the back, but we're actually going to use HX. Okay. And then we'll start knitting. Okay, we are going to knit the thumb. We are going to do 44 rows. So I'm going to put the edge springs on. This will actually also help me visually to know where to stop the lock pretty easily. Okay, so our row counter is back to 0. We've changed our row counter to 0. We are going to do 44 rows. So, a special note, I am using a gradient yarn. What I've decided to do is pick up with a different segment of the yarn to continue the gradient, and use the on a different ball and use the other yarn to continue on in the palm. So if you want to try to match the gradients, I would do separate yarn from the thumb and then continue on in the palm. I think it'll look a lot better rather than just continuing on from the end of the palm, because you'll have a big color jump when you go back to the palm from the end of the thumb. So we are going to do 28 rows. Sorry, 44 rows. Sorry, 44 rows. Okay, so what's going to be happening here is this is being knit up and this isn't. So this is getting higher and higher. So what we're going to do is take this heel weight and try to catch towards that stitch to try to weigh it down a little bit. So we're going to have to adjust it in the beginning after every few rows. We're going to be able to get higher and higher up there. Now, there we go, a little bit higher. Try again. Okay. Okay, now what we're going to do is some decreases. You can do them any way you like. You can do them just on each outer end and curl in. I personally prefer to go kind of like a spiral. So I'm going to do it a little bit more complicated, but feel free to do it any way you choose. So I'm going to get my tools out. So you can also take pressure off of your knitting by wrapping the yarn around the NX switch. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to get rid of these edge springs. I'm going to do 1, 2, and I take the third and put it on the fourth. And I do 1, 2, take the third and put it on the fourth. 1, 2, take the third, put it on the fourth. 1, 2, take the third, put it on the fourth. 1, 2, take the third and put it on the fourth. Ah, if I can. Okay. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to condense all these stitches. I'm just going to move these over first. There's only like, what, like 3 or 4 rows of decreases or something, or times of doing this decreases. So it's a little extra work, but it's not for very long. It's just a few rows. Okay, so what I'm also going to do is put the corresponding pushers for any needles that are empty, corresponding pushers out of work. Okay, so what you want to do is make sure that the side you start on, that those 2 stitches are lined up opposite each other. So they are right now, so I'm just going to do 1 row. Okay, these 2 are not lined up, so I'm going to rack it. Okay, and then we're going to do another round of decreases, and this time it's, okay, and I'm just take the pressure off. This time it is 1, take the second and put it on the third. 1, take number 2 and put it on 3. 1, take the second and put it on third. So I'm going to put it on the third, not by like a double bodkin where it's coming off the other end. I'm going to rotate it around, because otherwise you're going to have a twisted stitch. Not the end of the world. Not the end of the world at all. Okay, again, the pushers for empty needles should be out of work, completely out of work on the front and just down on the back. And the side here should be lined up. I'm gonna replace this weight here. Okay. Okay, those are lined up too, so we're gonna go back. Okay. Okay, we're just gonna go combine them. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Again, rotate it around. Don't transfer it like you would from front to back bed normally in regular work. So we have 2 on the front and 3 on the back. Let's line these up and let's see. Okay. Pushers completely out of work at front. Pushers down, at least on the back. Okay, and then we are going to do 2 more rows. So 1 here, Okay, we're gonna line those up again. Now, I don't have enough room for racking, but it's only just a little bit, so they're not completely across because I reached the end of the bed, but it doesn't matter. It's almost a full rotation. As close as I can get. Okay, and so now we snip the yarn and pull it up through all those stitches. So I'm just going to snip it. Where do I want to snip it? I'm going to snip it around here. Come on, release. Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna knit and pull it all the way through. Oops, try to get this needle. There we go. Gonna knit it. Let's pull it all the way through. Knit it. Pull all the way through. Okay. Now it's off the bed. We don't need any waste yarn. Okay. I'm going to reset the edge springs. Those two at least. Okay.